this to be recorded.
That's grand because we're live now. Alright guys, how's it going everyone? Welcome to the third iteration of the Self-Isolate In with us here in Snugcast, myself, DJ Walsh, Owen, Tab, and we're joined this week. Finn's on a hiatus, he can only do 2 weeks in a row with us before he gets fed up. So we've drafted in Peter Kavanagh, co-host of Motherfuck Lore, Irish language activist, a man who enjoys a crisp, and also a councillor for South Dublin County Council, and just all round good guy. How are you getting on?
I'm doing well. You can see I miss the outdoors. I miss my favourite pubs. I put John Mulligan's behind me. Mulligan's Pool, Beg Street, Dublin. Great pub.
So jealous.
In reality, I'm sitting in my kitchen, and we'll make do. These are the sacrifices we make for the greater good. So hopefully we can get through it all together.
Brilliant, and Owen, it's a week since we last spoke in this format. How's your week been?
Good, actually. The day after our last podcast, so last Saturday, I sat in a chair in the middle of the kitchen there, and Kira cut my hair. So that was an experience. I was like, yes. What can you tell me about it? I think I've had worse haircuts.
Yeah, you've gone from Novak Djokovic to Thibaut Courtois overnight.
Yeah.
It's a smooth transition, and I suppose let's kick it off by the most important question tonight. Anyway, Cav, welcome to Snowcast. Unfortunately, your first time on is not in person. What are you drinking tonight? Virtually.
No, I'm actually drinking it. If I hold it up, there we go. It is a San Marzano. It's a red from Italy. A friend of mine dropped over to the Hex a while ago, brought that as a gift, and I was driving him home later on, so I couldn't pick it that night. To be honest with you, I just don't drink at home. I love going for pints, love the social atmosphere of the pub. I have a few cans of craft beer in the fridge, but to be honest with you, they're in there so long. I think the dates may be questionable on them, so I figured it's as good a time as any to crack open that lovely gift. And the only thing that I found out is I don't have any wine glasses, so it's a mug of wine.
Sure. Listen,
It's
as far from wine glasses we were reared here on this podcast anyway. It's an interesting point you make about not drinking much at home. Neither do I. And I find that people find out that you have a podcast where you go to the pub and go for pints every week. So like every time someone has to buy me something or congratulate me for something, or someone wants to give me something, they give me cans or they give me bottles, or I don't drink at home. Like there's a whole shelf full of random collection of bottles over. But obviously with the current predicament in the pubs not being open, we have to make do what we have. Owen, what are you on yourself?
So actually just to add to that point, a lot of times people say, oh, we're a beer podcast or something like that, because we have the segment of what are you drinking tonight and stuff. But we're literally just a chatting shit podcast. And to show people how much of a non-beer drinkers we are, I'm on Heineken. I'm on the old Heineken tonight, so got a 20-pack of Heineken. Keep me going.
Actually, I was only saying to Owen before when the pubs first closed, before Kildare Brewing Company sorted us out a week or two ago, we actually had, and by sorted us out, we bought the cans off them, obviously, but we actually.
I thought it was a bit of spawn con there,
No.
I wish.
Hashtag sponsors.
Perks of the job. But actually, I found a few. I wanted to have a bottle there. Just went up there a couple of days after the pubs were closed, and now lamenting bottle. And all I had in the house that I could find, I couldn't find my stash of random cans and bottles. They were moved around for some reason. So I came across a couple of bottles of Heineken that had the UEFA Champions League final logo on them. I have no idea where they came from. I don't even think it was Madrid 2019. I think it could have been
Istanbul.
Yeah. They'll do. I was going to say they do this year, but that's obviously been cancelled too. It's supposed to be in Istanbul this year as well. But there we are. Like that just goes to show how often I drink at home. But I'm longing for a pub. Like, do you know that? Do you know that smell of a pub?
It entirely depends on the pub.
Yeah. Yeah, but like if you could create like some sort of potpourri that would give you an O of a certain pub, I reckon you'd be onto a big winner during lockdowns. Like if I could.
The smell of like tobacco from about 40 years ago just still lingering around. Like.
Listen, you're making me nostalgic for the wander in now one.
When lockdown is over, what'll be your first pub that you go to? The Mulligan's.
So I love Mulligan's. Mulligan's is fantastic, and I was able to easily find an image of it online. But I'll actually, I go to my local. I go to Quinn in Locken Village, out here in southwest Dublin. Lovely little bit of sort of coach house from the, I think the late 17th century. So a historic pub and a great boozer. Lovely pint. I'll get down there and I'll tell you. The one thing is, I'm a Guinness drinker, so I'm not sure I'm going to go out the first night after the lockdown. I'm going to let there be a run.
Oh, man, you got it.
Have you ever gone to a 21st in a GA club or in a function room of a hall or something like that, and they only open the place up on Saturdays and Sundays? When you go there on a Saturday at 7 o'clock for somebody's 21st or 40th or whatever, and you have the first pint of Guinness and like the head is fucking brown. You're like, oh, stop.
I went to an opening of a nightclub. I went to an opening of a nightclub before, and it was like had a pint of Guinness like at the opening, and it was like bleach. It was like drinking utter bleach. It was miserable. So yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know about the opening of a nightclub one. I've never been to one then, but Cav, all I'll say to you is I know what GA clubs you have up there in South Dublin, because the GA club that I played with growing up in Cork had the pub there is open every night.
Oh no, the bar's open. It's the function room.
Oh, the function room.
Function room. Oh, no, I'm talking about function room Guinness. That's how bad this is going to be after the lockdown.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Days, it's going to be like function room Guinness.
I don't even want to think. You're upsetting me now. It's traumatic enough, besides having function room Guinness to look forward to. Actually, usually we name a podcast after something someone says during the podcast, but obviously we have to name these ahead of time.
Function room Guinness.
Yeah, I think what we should do is for when the lockdown's over, the three of us should meet up for a function room Guinness and have a podcast about it.
Okay, it's a deal. That's fine. It's somewhere. Good. I'm trying to think. All the GA clubs I know in Waterford, they don't even have clubhouses. You'll have to be my guide. I'll come down. We'll go for a function room Guinness somewhere in Waterford.
I think everywhere will be a function room when it's when we're first back from lockdown anyway. But I suppose I want to carry on from that. But the first place I'd probably want to go for a pint is obviously Philly Grinds, like just an absolute institution and easily my favourite pub. The one that's probably featured on the most podcasts that we've done out of any. It's just so good. But I think as well, like Peter, in South Dublin, I suppose what makes the best pubs in Waterford are the bar staff really more than anything, you know, as well as the historic layout and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any highlights, like, do you have any favourite interactions from a barman or bartender or barwoman ever?
Like a lot of people who went to college, and I'm repping the journey. I went to Maynooth University, Sloan now, NUI Maynooth at the time, and I spent a lot of time in the SU bar, an awful lot of time, to the point that we would have known like the jukebox playlist off by heart, what number to press. So we found out that our bar manager Connor did not like one of our favourite songs, one of Cork's finest exports ever, "Where's Me Jumper" by the Souls Big FC. So we'd go and maybe put in €2, which would get you 8 songs. So what we do is we'd go and we put on "Where's Me Jumper" by the Souls Big FC 6 times in a row, and then something else, and then the Souls Big FC again. So that Connor would have to walk all the way from the bar to the skip on the jukebox and skip the track and then go back and realise it was the same track. So you come back and he'd skip it again and he'd wait this time, and it would still be, brother, those Karl Marx. So skip it again, and then finally something else would come on and he'd go back for 3.5 minutes to the bar to do it. And then on it comes again. So yeah, that was, we used to, I really, really enjoyed Connor's company. He was a good mate, so it was all in good fun. And he got back at us based on one year we took a notion and started drinking snake bites, because during Rag Week they would serve us Guinness in plastic glasses, Aldi. So we just decided that if we want to drink out of plastic glasses, let's drink snake bites, because that would be a pain in the arse for a barman to make. Half lager, half cider, and a drop of red currant cordial. So he got back at us by spiking our snake bites when we book fast. That was the wild beginning.
That's a concoction, an absolute concoction. Cav, we part of the reason why we wanted to get you on was actually one of our podcasts that, I suppose, one of our most listened to podcasts back when pubs were a thing, was actually a podcast we named A Few Pints About the Irish Language, and you're well known in Irish Twitter spheres as an Irish language activist. I know that you're very involved in Pop-Up Ghaeilge, and obviously you're one of the Mother Folklore family. So I suppose briefly, before we get into the nuts and bolts, how do you feel about the Irish language at the moment? Like how the current state of play in Ireland in relation to the Irish language? You've got Acton-ish up in the 6 counties up north, and an awful lot of, I suppose, speak about the Irish language pre-pandemic. So how do you think we're fixed?
First of all, I think one of the reasons A Few Pints about the Irish language is so listened to is I've listened to it about a dozen times. It was really enjoyable. It's the only Snugcast episode I've actually listened to more than once. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. How are we in the Irish language? I mean, to be honest with you, we have to talk about pre-lockdown, pre-pandemic. It's the last time we got useful information from. Things were, not to say in rude health, but the Irish language was looking better than ever, healthier than ever. More people speaking at any time in recent history. More to do in the Irish language than ever before. More Irish language content being created, more content about the Irish language being created. That's even podcasts such as yourselves, and kind of that idea of like you taking a casual chat podcast and set in pubs and talking about the Irish language for an hour or whatever it was. It's kind of shows that it's just breaking into mainstream consciousness. It's not weird anymore. It's not niche. It's just there. So look, you're in really good nick, to be honest with you. And one of the things as well about it is like the reason we set up Pop-Up Ghaeilge a couple of years ago was in response to the talk in the media about how the Irish language was a dead language. Nobody was speaking it. It was useless. Hard to teacher or living in the Ghaeilge or working for an Irish language organisation. You didn't speak it. So myself and my pal Oscar and Kira, we set it up because we were reading these articles and these videos saying that basically we didn't exist. And I think that's sort of been knocked on the head. I still read the same takes about the Irish language. Still read a lot of the same nonsense by people who don't really know what they're talking about peg and talking about nonsense like people who didn't like studying peg for the Leaving Cert 45 years ago, talking about how it's indicative of what's wrong with the Irish language. Like that sort of nonsense is still around. But what you don't get is you don't tend to get people saying it's a dead language, nobody speaks it. That kind of thing has been knocked on the head. People still say it's a waste of money, which is nonsense. That can all be disproved. But at the end of the day, it's probably in a better position than it has been for my lifetime anyway, for 30, 40 years, maybe even since the foundation of the state. And things are on the up and up, but that's not to say it's perfect. The Ghaeilge, they are in serious decline. When you think about it politically as a big picture idea, the whole of rural Ireland is in a lot of trouble over the last 10, 15 years. Maybe since the recession, there are parts of rural Ireland that haven't really bounced back. And then when you get to the Ghaeilge, problem is exacerbated because all funding decisions and all infrastructure decisions in the Gaeltacht, they go through the Ross Gaeltacht. They were the only statutory organisation dealing in infrastructure that actually had their funding cut during the recession. You know, the IDA and Enterprise Ireland had their funding increased to try and stimulate spending and stimulate the economy. With the Ross Gaeltacht, they had their funding cut, and they're still in and around 2008 levels. It hasn't even been adjusted for inflation. A slight increase year on year. It's not keeping up with the cost of living for people in Gaeltacht areas. And look, I know the Waterford Gaeltacht on Rhine has got really good high-speed broadband, but that's because Nematon TV Productions basically got the pipe in. Like they met most of the cost. They went to Ulderas the Gaeltacht and said, we need this, build a studio and employ 100 so we need to get this done. Other Gaeltacht don't have that. They don't have that impetus behind them. And there are massive parts of the country where Irish is the first language and it's experiencing a brain drain, a massive internal migration of the youth, massive external migration of the youth, and it's problematic, to be honest with you, because that's, you know, Shiel Gaeltacht, the Crane, the Changa, the Gaeltacht is the heart of the language, and if you don't act to protect the Gaeltacht, that's where the language will run into trouble. But again, on balance, things are quite positive and very positive about where the Irish language is and where she's going.
I think that's really good. I think first of all, you make a great point about the argument about the cost of language, because that's been completely disproven. I think there was a paper published by Conan Ghaeilge in 2015, 2016 that showed that what we spend to keep the language as an official language in the EU it equates to €2.20 per citizen per year. I think so. I mean, you're not looking at anything that's a burden on anyone. It's not a burden on society at all. And if anything, I think it adds to society. Owen, based on what Peter said there, what's your take on the Irish language at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose I'm probably building with excitement about the Irish language at the moment. I suppose, like, just to give you my backstory, Peter, on the Irish language, went to one school, Ghaeilge School. So that was Ghaeilge School Port Larga there in Ballygunner. So up until 6th class, I was taught through Irish, and then I went to Delasal College, which is an English-speaking college. And throughout my 6 years there, I had teachers. Now, like, I'm not going to say they were bad teachers, because I think the circumstances that was involved with my teaching during that time was my junior cert Irish teacher went on maternity leave 3 times during my 3 junior cert years. So that ended up being broken up, and then for my 2 senior years, for 5th and 6th year, then I had an Irish teacher who became deputy principal, and there was a lot of workforce upon him at that time, and I think teaching here became a second job to him as opposed to the actual management of the school. So I can honestly say that for my leaving cert, I used my primary school Irish, and I was happy with that, but it just I just never built upon it. But anyway, what I'm saying though is that I feel that there's kind of excitement building towards it. Is that it's the likes of the guys of like Kneecap and stuff who like brought about a kind of casual Irishness that you can just go and have a chat. Like myself and DJ now would have a few drunken Irish chats. Like it tends about like pints 12 or so. That the Irish is just just comes out non-stop, like in the middle of the chipper, like just chat shit. That's great, and it's great, like, because again, like I'm still using that primary school Irish, and that would have like actually was, I'd say like almost fluent, I suppose, when I was in 6th class, but I've probably lost it over the years. But like it's that flow, and that rhythm of Irish that kind of comes back to you, and like what sounds right, that you kind of come back to it. And I don't know, I just think like it's lads like that like just you don't have to make a fool of yourself if you like use the wrong word, or you substitute in an English word for an Irish word that you can't think of, you don't know, or whatever. of Irishness is like really exciting. I think like like a lot of my friends now as well like would be kind of like of that ilk as well. Like would like to throw in a kugelfuckle every now and again. Like even do it the other way around where you're speaking in an English sentence and you throw in like kugelfuckle. So yeah, no, I'm excited about the Irish language. I think it's in pretty good nick at the moment. But yeah, I suppose in terms of like trying to promote it and build that community even further, maybe the funding isn't there. Maybe there needs to be a bit more put into it. Like shop on the Ghaeilge is fucking 1 week a year. Like it's and you get a big push then. Like, but
It's 2.5 weeks at this stage. Actually, shut to the right.
Quite decent,
and it'll hopefully keep growing. But look, Kneecap are amazing. Things that Kneecap have done successfully and to a huge audience, a bigger audience than we ever could have imagined when the boys started out 2-3 years ago. Is that they've sort of given people a taste of the real of what Irish speakers sound like, look like, and importantly, what their Irish sounds like in reality. Because the confidence issue is massive. You go into a situation where you have to speak Irish and all of a sudden you're worried it's going to be right. Am I going to use the wrong words? Am I going to look like a fool if I don't use the right words? What do I do if I don't know the words? How do I say it? You say this, I can't use English. Oh my God, that's terrible. And you just want to grab people and just say it's okay. Have you ever been to the Ghaeilge? Have you ever heard the Ghaeilge Irish speaker? Because Connemara is like, well, Colin Rose or Slushy the Imara Bicycle, Slushy the Mac. It's Colin Dulce's it's the idea that disfluency is a bad thing. These breaks in your conversation, or using the wrong word, or filling in a word you don't know. It's just false. Like disfluency actually is an indication of fluency, and it's an indication of comfort in the language. So if you're comfortable enough to and I say this as someone, I used to have a radio show on Radio Liffin, so I spent years as a broadcaster interviewing people in the Irish language, and I always said that if you're interviewing someone in the Irish language, I would much rather get somebody who knows how to say a sentence in Irish, and if they don't know the word thrown in the English, I don't care about that, that's no problem. I used to interview people all the time, and they wouldn't know the terms, the technical terms that they were using in the council chamber, or in the Dáil, or in the Shannon. They wouldn't know them in Irish, but that's no problem. I don't mind a politician saying, talking about chocolate legislation, or the right to life, or the right to, A. If they don't know that in Irish, that's fine. That's much better for the conversation, and much preferable to somebody who has typed out their answers and is reading it from a sheet. And if you go off script, they're not going to know what they're talking about. And one of the key things that you mentioned there is like after point 12 in the queue for the chipper, that's where your best Irish is going to be. Like
that's where the best of anyone comes out.
There's a reason we decided to set Pop and Ghaeilge in a pub, and it's always in a pub, and it's been around the world. We started in Dublin in November 2016, so 3.5 years ago, and there's a reason it's spread around the world. And the reason is basically people don't get langured, and when you're 3-4 pints in, you don't care about those mistakes anymore, and it becomes a much more social use of the Irish language, because the Irish language, because of our cultural hangover and our post-colonial society, it is a deeply personal thing. So if you go through that school experience and you don't have a good Irish teacher, it means more to you than not having a good maths teacher or not having a good geography teacher. You just don't hear people say, geography, I had a terrible teacher. It's really ruined it for me now. I don't even want to know what an oxbow lake is. It's just, it's not like about glacial moraine. I had a terrible teacher. It's a much more deeply ingrained personal lived experience because of who we are as a nation, and the fact that we have the Irish language everywhere, but the vast majority of people, beyond place names, beyond a bit of basic Irish, they don't speak it, and that's the reality.
I think there are some great points. I actually am glad you brought up Kneecap on, because I love Kneecap. I think they're brilliant, but I think as well, like you have to look at there have been some funny developments with Kneecap with TG Caher and RTE since they've come out, and they've been called X, Y, and Z and banned from certain radio stations and stuff. And I always think, like, at the end of the day, if the language can be accepted as normal and not weird, as Cav, as you were saying, now it's not weird to speak Irish. You know, of course, Irish speakers also do drugs and have sex and do like everything else that all English speakers do, and I look at it as a really positive step because it's normalising the language. It's using the language in a way that we use English every day. And I'd also add to what you say, Cav, about like someone not knowing a word and throwing in English, or like knowing a basic structure of a sentence but like not speaking it perfectly. I don't fucking speak grammatically perfect English every day, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't. I think very few of us actually do. But what's really interesting, speaking in ECAP, is Mowgli Bap's eldest brother Anla, I actually knew growing up. And like, their family story is fascinating. And just a shout out to Anla's podcast, the Rebel Matters podcast, where he does some in Irish and some in English. And I spoke Irish obviously as a younger person. You would speak Irish with Anla, but like, it was the first time I was exposed to someone from West Belfast with that very particular thick accent speaking Irish. And you know what? It was challenging, but it was actually, once you actually listened, and it actually taught me how to listen a bit better. Jeez, it was lovely having a conversation with Anla in Irish, and he actually has a great podcast where he interviews his father about the growth of Irish in West Belfast. And I mean, if they can grow the Irish language in Belfast, and they can, I'm wondering what the hovering head is doing. But you know, like,
I had to turn the light on. The sun's coming down. I had to turn the light on.
If you could, I was wondering, yeah, it's fairly impressive. If you could recreate what the community in West Belfast did in pockets around the country, in 10 years' time, you would see the figures jump. I actually did a bit of digging into the figures before we came on, just out of interest. And in the last census, I think, Cav, you said like you set up Papa Ghaeilge at the end of 2016. There was an awful lot of absolute tripe written about the Irish language in 2016, and a lot of it, I think, was on the back of the census, where I think Irish language speakers from the census in 2011 dropped by 13,000, but it was still like 1.7 million people. So it was a slight drop in 2016 in overall figures, but it's all about how do you interpret data. And you can very basically say there's a drop in the number of speakers, but there was a huge shift in the age profile of Irish speakers over the previous 15 years to a much younger demographic, and a much bigger proportion of younger people are speaking Irish now than did. I mean, like, the lowest under 60s, the lowest percentage of people who speak Irish are in the 20s, that are people in their 20s in 2016, believe it or not. Which we would have fallen in. I was 26 in 2016, and I think, like, you know, you have to look at it and say 30 this year. Yeah.
I was 32.
You have to look at that and say, right, like, what are the reasons why myself and Owen's generation didn't speak Irish? We had, you know, is it because of the Celtic Tiger and globalization and you know, the world becoming a smaller place? That being said, when you look at the change, like how you interpret the demographics, like, there are a lot more young people speaking Irish now than they have done. And you just look at, you know, NECAP have emerged over the last 2 years. We've got Nos magazine, which is a brilliant online publication in the Irish medium. We've got Anshupa Lower, which I know you guys spoke to on Mother Folklore about. Radio na Lifa, you've mentioned there, Cav. Like, there are so many, like, really, like, innovative Irish language I suppose mediums being driven by younger people, like a Muntor Meg on Instagram and people like that. You know, we've got, like, the Irish language is, if you look at the demographic of people under 30 years of age now, the Irish language is thriving, as you said at the start, better than it has ever done so before. I think you're spot on with that.
Do you think social media is a big part of that then? Like, that's, like, say, with Muntor Meg and stuff, and it's like that you're able to capture that younger audience?
Sure. Look at the.
Lads, we get it. You look at Muntor Meg. It's good.
Look at the. Look at the.
Who doesn't? It's amazing content. She's absolutely fantastic about making the Irish language accessible to everyone, and it's really a brilliant way of doing things. I think social media is massive. It's a huge part in it. Like, it's kind of, there's no one clear-cut answer as to why there's sort of an uptick, and there's kind of a missing generation, like your generation, our generation. There's no one clear answer. So some of it is down to the media that we consume. That like I would have grown up watching a lot more Irish-made television than even my younger brother, who's 4 years younger than me. So he's my brother's 31. So even in that short time, like I would have grown up watching 40 Codes, Moscow, and things like that, and that would have had a lot of little bit of Irish strewn into it. Whereas my brother would have grown up watching Pokemon, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's just there's just a slight little thing, and then you had the advent of social media, 2008 onwards, like this idea that people could stay in contact with each other remotely, constantly, instead of like email was one thing, but just this idea of being in constant contact with each other, and it sort of gave a platform to the Irish language. And one of the key things is the Irish language has to innovate, and the people who speak the Irish language have to innovate. And I think the Irish language community have realised that they have to innovate. So some of the most progressive, some of the edgiest, some of the best stuff coming out in Ireland at the moment is in or out or associated with the Irish language. Look at Kneecap, like they're doing stuff that nobody else is doing because they are. I don't know. It's unfair to the lads and it's unfair to their talent to say they're a satirical rap outfit, but there's an element of satire there that harkens back to the ancient Irish traditions of satire. But they do it without punching down, and they do it without being misogynist, without being racist. They do it based out of lived experience about what it's like growing up in West Belfast, where the Irish language is a serious part of your identity because you're actually still in a press community. Alright, fair enough, the two boys are definitely children of the Good Friday Agreement generation. Like, they're not lads who would have experienced the troubles hands-on. That family memory, that community memory is there. They're an oppressed community, and that comes through in their work. If you look at, even with RTE, like, I mean, I have so many criticisms. I love public service broadcasting. I have so many criticisms of RTE, like, just, the list is endless. When you look at the Irish language content, look at what TG Carr is doing, look at what Radio Ghaeilge is doing. The most downloaded RTE podcast by a country mile is Bjorn Reagan, which is 3 young women talking about things that are important to them for half an hour every week. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant because for RTE, it's radical. For Ireland, it's actually quite radical. It's really stock standard stuff when it comes to podcasting, because that's what people have been doing for a long time in the podcast world. But RTE still haven't gotten onto that. Like, their podcasts are still their shows. They've started to experiment. They've got this new murder mystery podcast that they've done, and they've released it in English and in Irish, and actually the numbers of download exactly the same. The exact same amount of people are listening to it in English as they are. The idea, and then you listen to Radio Ghaeilge. Like, Radio Ghaeilge is fantastic. It's still local radio for the Ghaeilge. Like, you still get the news as to what's happening in Ring, and you get the local notices. Like, you know, Johnny Coley and Hamish wants to sell a dog. That's still on there. It's 7 o'clock or half 7. Sorry, half 7. Every or is it half 6? It's half 6 every night. The local notices. That's still on Radio Ghaeilge. But then, like, you're on that day, you got Plyro with Annie Freshly, which is just a top-notch magazine show. There's Tu Socha, which is a fantastic news and current affairs show. And then you got Keane O'Keefe doing just the most incredible mind-fucking music in the evenings. Really, really cutting-edge and innovative stuff. And it's absolutely amazing. Radio Nalifa in Dublin, the radio station I enjoyed a very long association with before I became an elected politician. They dumped me like a hot snot as soon as I was I think they were afraid I was going to lose and bring shame to the parish, but I got the seat, so. But no, Radio Nalifa has been attracting like thousands and thousands of downloads, listens, and streams all around the world because it has no music mandate. If you listen to 2FM, in fact, if you listen to any mainstream FM Irish radio station, you have to listen to top 40. Like, you just have to listen to top 40, particularly if it's commercial radio. Commercial radio, the sponsors only want to be associated with popular music and this kind of lowest common denominator content. And in this Irish language sphere where it's non-commercial, because basically we don't have the money, we have to we've seen over the while. And I'm really delighted, DJ, that you mentioned Noakes, because one of the key things that Noakes has done over the last couple of years, 3 years or so, has been to have Gradam Ceol host the Noakes Music Awards, where they actually recognise Irish language music and Irish language artists, traditional and new and original, in a way that had never been done before. Like, there's always been the RT Folk Awards, but that included English language folk, and that gets dominated by, the big names, Mary Black, Christy Moore, that sort of thing. This was a space for Irish language artists to actually be showcased, and that's where NECAP kind of came to prominence. Like, I remember that it was their first major appearance. They had released Carta a couple of weeks beforehand, and they were just being told this is being broadcast on Radio na Gaeltacht Live. Don't fucking curse. They won Newcomer of the Year, and the first thing the boys say, fuck me. So, there's this space in the Irish language, and in particular the creative industries within the Irish language have to innovate and to experiment, explore, and look, it's brilliant, it's fantastic, it's great, and it allows us to have outcomes like people realising that the Irish language is not only alive and well, but exactly as you said, DJ, people who speak Irish, they have sex, they take drugs, they go out, they drink, they do good things, stupid things. I mean, I would say we have more sex and do more drugs, but it's just that we're there, and it's one of the things that we wanted to achieve with Pop Up Gaeltacht was to create this, basically shine a light on what was already happening. There were already loads and loads of pockets of Irish being spoken in Dublin, and we decided that instead of it being a poetry night or a storytelling night or a songwriters night or a drama night or whatever, hidden in these cloisters, in these little Irish language areas, so we're going to go out into the English language area. We're going to just take over. We're going to pick a pub in which English is normally spoken, and for one night every month, it's going to be a Gaeltacht. I'm sorry, that's it. And one of the things that I've always noticed for many years, and I've come to the end of this diatribe that has not made much sense now, but one of the things that I've noticed is when I go out with friends who speak Irish, so if the three of us were out for a pint and we're chatting away on Ghaeilge, somebody comes to the table who doesn't speak any Irish, well, we all speak English, so we're going to be nice, we're going to be polite, and we're all going to speak English so as not to exclude everybody. Well, we gave people a night where you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody comes up and speaks English, you just go, look at the sign, mate, Pop Up Gaeltacht, I'll talk to you tomorrow, it's long. And that's it, and it's been liberating, it's been enjoyable, it's been fantastic. And to be honest with you, we should have done this fucking podcast because I miss it. I miss going out for pints. I miss meeting people. But look, it's brilliant. Look, some of the spaces we have yet to explore and innovate in the Irish language, they're exciting too. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next couple of years brings us.
Well, I think you're dead right, and I think if an Irish language hip hop rap act from West Belfast can get into the mainstream like NECAP have, if there's anyone out there who has any other ideas in relation to Irish language, why can it not work? NECAP sold out shows in the UK for God's sake, and they're rapping about, they're rapping about doing drugs, they're rapping about the trouble, they're rapping about aspects of discrimination in the north, and they're being satirical about post-colonialism. And I mean, why can nobody else have an idea and go with it in Irish? And I think Nose is a great example as well, because like, what I love about Nose is they publish every week their like most visited articles, most visited items of the week, and even for example, like we would have went to college with Ciara Kenny, the artist, Ciara, who does doodles for Nose as well, and like I have to say, like some of those doodles are as good as you're going to see in terms of like satirical, finger on the pulse, current affairs, aware art representations of society that you're going to see in any sphere. And she's doing it os Ghaeilge a lot of the time on Norse, and you know what, it's modern Irish being very relevant in a globalized world, and it's absolutely fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Ciara Kenny, she's
Yeah.
And like it's been brilliant. And to be honest with you, it was a very, very clever decision by Nose and their editor Matteo Comini to snap her up and get her to do cartoons, because we had lost that in Ireland in general. The satirical cartoon being done really, really well. It had stopped telling truth to power. You know, the satirical cartoon that you see in whatever paper you pick up, they'd stopped being effective. They'd stopped really speaking and resonating with people. And I think Kira does that. And I can't speak highly enough of her work. I think she has prints for sale. You know, help a gal out during lockdown. At Kira on Twitter. Give her an old tweet there. Tell her you want to buy some art. She's class.
She's very good, to be fair. She is. Oh, and what about your consumption of Irish media at the moment? What's it like?
My consumption of Irish media, I suppose probably wouldn't be that high really. Like, I wouldn't put myself out there that much to actually like consume Irish media, and I think it's probably a commentary on just the amount of content of just things in general that are out there at the moment. I think like you have to go out yourself in order to try and find Irish media. It's not like front and centre for you. So in terms of like, you know, like literally as I'm going in the car then like each day, I think I have like a backlog of about 8 hours of podcasts that I've to listen to, like have to listen to is what I'm saying here now. But like and then like you come home and like it's Netflix and then it's bed, and you know, it's just like as much as you like to put the Irish language in front of you, like it hasn't come naturally for me. Now like I unfortunately do not have television, so when I used to have TV, I used to like flick on TG Car and see if there's anything. I used to love when like Harry Potter or Ghaeilge goes on. That was savage. I used to love going through that. But like I suppose like disappointing enough. Yeah, I don't consume as much Irish media as I probably want to. But maybe this conversation makes me change my mind. I think that murder mystery podcast on Ghaeilge sounds really cool for RT. Like, and I think I'll tip into that one now. All right.
It's amazing. There's a really good playlist that was pointed out to me on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. I was actually I tweeted some musicians that have a couple of shows on TG Car and that would be prevalent on TG Car. Just say like, is there any chance you could put together a Spotify playlist, an outshine list that we could have like some of the regular songs that feature like Moravor and other songs like that. I mean, this is what I think is fascinating. Like when you actually listen to Irish songs, like we are some of the randiest, craziest fuckers in the history of the planet. Like all these old songs that they're all about riding and fighting and killing people. Every single one of them. Like Banfogin has to be one of the most like psychotic songs that you're ever going to listen to. And we did a podcast. We did a podcast about some of them on the folklore. But yeah, it's unreal. Like you know, like when just apology to the wife. I want to break that bitch's legs and I hope she drowns. It's dark. Yeah. It's dark. It's absolutely mental. But I like, you know, Moira which is like the start of that's like I have women all over the place, but Moira Moore is the best one of all of them. Like you know, and he's going off to Inish Man and places like this and throwing the leg over, and then he's back to Moira's the best though. He'll always come back to her, you know. And I just think like it's brilliant that stuff like Nick Happer modernising the language and stuff like that. But there are some fantastic turns of phrases in these kind of songs. But John Spillane is my personal cup of tea listening to music, but he's got a great playlist on Spotify that I found doing this kind of looking at how I need to listen to a few more songs of Ghaeilge, and he's got a playlist on Spotify that's Irish songs we learned in school.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely. It's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend everyone just have one listen through because there's some of the songs there that you like on Vodreen Rua that you've just forgotten existed if you haven't engaged. And then the, yeah, but I did, yeah, Bodgy and Ireland going in University Hospital Waterford there a couple of weeks ago, and got a couple of the staff members humming along. Then come in after lunch and someone's humming Bodgy and Ireland in University Hospital Waterford in 2020. Like, you know, that's what you want. I think that's ultimately, like, I think everyone has their part to play with the Irish language going forward. Like even if you don't know any, just learn a small bit. Learn a small bit, and just fucking give that to someone else, you know. And I think I suppose usually Cav, what we're trying to aim at this now for going forward is have the little chat about the more serious stuff, and I'm gonna ask you some nonsense questions now just to try and get the old giggles flowing.
Okay, I'm good. Let me just top up my pint of wine.
Pints of wine.
Brings you back to the college days.
I said I'd have pints, but yeah. Cheers, chin chin.
That's the Dutch sláinte. That's the Dutch courage you need to go after Peggy Little Vor. If you could play in a film any character from Irish language mythology, Irish language books, Irish language songs, who would you play?
Good one. Probably Fionn McCool. Because Fionn McCool, like, a lot of people may know the story of the Salmon of Knowledge, and they may know some of the rest of the mythology, but actually reading it, and if you read even the English language treatments of the Fenian cycle, well, the Fianna, a pint of wine is repeating. Who would have thought that a pint of wine is favourite crisps would possibly cause a mild indigestion live on a podcast. Fionn McCool is a very interesting character to me because of, like, for example, Toriach Diarmadagus Grania, where, you know, Fionn McCool is arranged to be married to Grania, but she decides she doesn't want any part of him. He's an old man at this stage, and she wants Diarmid, who's younger, and Diarmid is conflicted because he's under a gas not to refuse a woman, but he doesn't want to betray Fionn. And I think that would be a very interesting character to explore, and we've actually done it on Mother Folklore as well. Actually, we did a live show where we decided what Irish language stories, myths, and stories from history would be interesting on as Netflix originals, like, you know,
Yes.
sort of, sorry, no, copyright, as net movies originals. Interesting to sort of play around in, and like a space I would really like to play around in is the Fenian cycle. I think is amazing, and a close second would be Cuchulainn. I just think the myths are just astounding. They're just absolutely magnificent. I think they make incredible fucking television, like Game of Thrones-esque kind of that level of just cinematic event. And we have it here. It's in the Corpus. It's ours. It's part of everyone who is from here or chooses to live on this island, or whose parents or grandparents or great grandparents came from here. It's yours, and it's fucking class. So I'd like to do that. Fionn McCool.
Very good, Owen. Have you got anyone?
Yeah, I was probably going to say Cuchulainn, but yeah, even to touch on that as well. Like I'm always amazed that like Disney has never touched it like properly. Like, you know, that like you have the likes of like they did that. Was it them who did Brave, or was that
Brave, yeah.
Was that
Scottish.
Yeah.
Was that Pixar? That was Pixar, yeah. So that was Scottish, and then but like even like say the likes of like Mulan and all those, that they have these like really like Pocahontas, like really honed into like a cultural story, like, and I'm always amazed that they haven't like tried to like branch in on that Irish story, like, you know.
But Owen, imagine the pitch meeting, like, you know, so Cuchulainn, right? He's late for a party, and he murders a dog. Right? How are you gonna get that past Disney?
Yeah.
How does he get his name? Dog murder.
I mean, in fairness, they did like.
I think you make more of a beastie thing, like you think of dog beast, like this thing was meant to be massive, like that dog was meant to be absolutely gigantic, like a guard
I just say like you'd have to
murdered a beloved family pet.
you'd have to somehow cast Joe Canning as Cuchulainn as a 9-year-old child as well. But the other thing I'd add.
Animals were harmed in the making of this podcast.
No. And the other thing I'd add to that is I wouldn't be too concerned, Cav, to be honest, about Disney portraying the historical accuracy of the story. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't think Pocahontas is. I think that they definitely went around the edges a bit there, like, you know, and you know.
They left out all the syphilis.
Yeah. Oh, listen, and there were tapes of it.
Wouldn't mention the syphilis in that movie.
No, and not even like a sneaky side character whose name could be rearranged to syphilis, you know, like or Sir Philip or something, that if you said it really quickly. Sir Philip.
You nearly cost me a really good laptop there.
That's alright. I tell you what, I think I don't take something right now because I think you'll enjoy this one. If I was to play anyone from Irish literature, Irish songs, or Irish history, never speaking times, I'd probably play your man in Colossus Trees and Ghaeilge, because he had a great time. I mean, I think he had a great time. It depends on what way you translate it.
Love the reference. That's our most downloaded episode of Mother Folklore, where our podcast dad, Darach, was on paternity leave. So the rest of us went to Maynooth and we did a live show where we read out a badly Google translated porno. Put it this way, it was so badly translated that it actually came across as a terrible diatribe about animal cruelty. There was roosters going into donkeys left, right, and centre.
I had to laugh, like, because you know, I listened to that podcast driving back from a wedding in Cork back to Waterford at like 2:30 in the morning that I went to straight from work. So I basically had done a like 16-hour day, and I'm driving 2 hours, and I said, I'll throw on Mother Folklore, sure, this will be handy enough, like a nice listen to get me home. You bastards, like 2:30 in the morning, I nearly ended up in every ditch between fucking Youghal and Dungarvan. Oh, stop. Oh, that's a good one. I think what we might do is we might wrap up the podcasting for now. Call it a day.
I have a segment I want. I have a quiz for the Zudy.
Oh, segment.
Right.
Quizzes.
Right. So it's actually going to be on your mastermind topics. Okay. So Peter, I've chosen your mastermind topic, and it is Irish translations. Okay.
I'm not sure I've ever seen Mastermind. That's not.
That's what I think of. What am I thinking of? Is it Mastermind?
No. Yeah, they have the topics, but they get to pick their own fucking topics.
Yeah, look, I have questions now, so like, I have to pick a topic. And DJ, your topic is percentages of yellow belly beers.
I'll do my best.
Right. So Peter, you're up first. So what is the Irish for Green Party?
Ointus class.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. He's on the board. Imagine if we got that wrong.
He's only our spokesperson for Irish, like.
Right, DJ, up next, right? What percentage is Castaway beer?
4.2.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. How the fuck do you know this?
You asked me one of our favourite beers. I mean, we talk about it every week.
Okay. Peter, what is the Irish for hipster?
So, I would translate it as Gaganamaga, which is like this kind of term from Guinea's dictionary that equates to a swaggering fop. So, I'm going to say Gaganamaga.
That's definitely better than Google Translate.
So, I have
Google Translate? No. Google Translate is not going to play ball with me.
so these
I go with Cav, to be honest. There, I'm gonna body Jarrock, and I'm gonna speak for him and say he was bored and just got lazy at that point in the article.
Yeah. Wrong. So I'm going to Peter. You've got that, Peter. Fuck there.
No, you got it. No, take it as written. Take it as written. It's. I didn't get that. Let's be fair, boys.
Okay. Darren.
This is senior hurling. This is senior hurling, lads.
Okay. Darren, what percentage is snooze button?
5.0.
Jesus Christ. 2-1.
My family are going to be so ashamed of me. Like, they're going to denounce me as an alcoholic.
I tried to look in your glasses to make sure that you're not on the Yellow Belly website here. There's a reflection in your glasses.
Oh, it's just Pornhub.
Yeah.
Right, Peter. What is Irish for fantasy football?
Pel Ghaeilge, Tristan Ghaeilge.
I haven't played fantasy football in years. Okay, right. We have to try and break this one down. Could be Hell Fantasy.
Ding, ding.
Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah.
I was
You
going.
got it. I have to take your correct answer. And it's right.
I was going to say, Cav, you could have just worked backwards and taken fantasy baseball and just swapped baseball out for Pel.
Fantasy baseball is usually known as rotisserie baseball because apparently we're all fat fuckers.
Right, Darren. Oh shit, do I have this down? Okay, I'm just going to ask you. I think it's right though. What is the percentage of it's not vodka?
Oh, it's not vodka. It's in the tens. It's either 10.1 or 10.8, I think. 10.1.
I'm just going to double check it here now. What you've currently said is wrong, but let me see.
The suspense is killing me.
No, not even one.
Yes, alright. Yes.
We're back.
We're back. I feel like I
2-1.
feel like when Packy Bonner saved that penalty. And then you go like, who's taking the next one? David O'Leary.
Channel your inner David O'Leary now, Cav. You have to beat me.
So, right. My favourite Irish word. What is the Irish for selfie?
Okay. I use the word failing. That's my first answer. That's absolutely class. There is one in the dictionary called fanfic, and I just reject it. And I think this is the true split in Irish society. It's not nationalist and unionist. It's not Catholic Protestant. It's not urban and rural. It's do you say feini or do you say fanfic? And I say feini.
Feini. I love it. That's it. Beauty. Oh, DJ.
All the pressure's on you now, Daniel Tomaste.
Right, DJ. What is the percentage of Wolf of Mall Street?
I actually don't know. Wolf of Wall Street. I can tell you it's a Black Forest Gatto Stout.
Yes.
I'm gonna go.
I can tell you that, DJ.
Yeah. 4.8%.
No, 6.2.
Whoa, she was a feisty little yoke.
Okay. Peter, your last question, right? What is the Irish for calligraphy?
Pianrucht. The art of the pen. Pianrucht.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. So I have piano rock for all. So
with your hands, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, Vraw, as in D-H-R-E-A, call it.
Oh, that means good calligraphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
So they all have love.
Yeah.
You didn't say how good the calligraphy was.
No, because I think it translates as good penmanship.
Sure, we all have good penmanship.
Wait, don't you still work in healthcare? It's not nice to have shite penmanship.
We read the shite penmanship.
Right, DJ. So, well, actually, you can't win it, so unlucky. But the last one is, what percentage is Paul's on holiday?
That's the one with the blank label. I've no idea. Absolutely no idea. 4.0.
It's a number you're well acquainted with.
4.20.
Peter got
What?
it. 6.9%.
Nice.
That's his bonus point. He didn't just beat me, he wiped the floor. Fucking
That's very fun.
Packy who? Brilliant. Fair play. Listen, lads, we'll probably stop the recording here now and finish our drinks with a private conversation that won't be online, so we can say what we really think. Thanks everyone for tuning.
That's just for your Patreon subscribers, isn't it?
Yeah. www.
Exclusive.
Yeah, patreon.com/snowcast.
Take our tops off, isn't it?
Yeah. OnlyFans/snowcast. Listen, Cav, thanks a million for coming on, man. It's been really good.
Absolute pleasure.
We'll
Absolute pleasure. Can't wait to do it in real life.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We'll have to do it in real life again soon. Everyone, thanks a million for tuning in. We'll put this out as audio as well for the ears of all of the other people who couldn't be with us live. And sound us a bell. Talk to you soon.